Hanover Square Press and HarlequinAudio present The Couple's Trip, a novel by Ulf Kvensler, performed by Karen Cass. A note before we begin. For a map of the hiking trail, don't forget to download the accompanying enhancement PDF from your audiobook provider. Or go directly to harpercollins.com/pages/The Couple's Trip. To Adam and Olivia. Radio communication between the air ambulance and Ware Hospital, September 15th, 2019, at 2:16 a.m. We've just picked up the woman in Akce. What's her condition? She's suffering from hypothermia and is in a pretty bad way, conscious, but only just. Okay. She doesn't have any ID on her, but says her name is Anna. Noted. She has cuts and bruises all over her body and her right arm is broken. We're giving her a couple of litres of a crystalloid infusion. Has she fallen? Looks that way, but she also has marks around her neck. Possible attempted strangulation. Okay. Hard to be sure, though. We'll be ready for her. Thanks. Over and out. Stockholm, July 2019. I love Stockholm in the middle of July. The residents escape to Gotland, Båstad, or the French Riviera. The place sinks into a summer trance. You can kind of have her to yourself. It was a Saturday evening, the end of a very hot day. It became significantly cooler when the sun no longer reached down into the streets of the built-up city centre. I had been in my office since 7 in the morning and decided to walk home in order to get some fresh air. The farther I went, the fewer tourists I saw and heard. Vasastan was practically deserted. In a few hours, when darkness fell, the drunken, noisy weekend revellers would head for Odenplan, but by then I would be safely tucked up in bed. I stopped and laid the palm of my hand on the ochre-coloured facade of an apartment block. It was as warm as a radiator. I thought I would pick up some food on the way, and called Henrik to ask if he wanted something. He did, so I ordered a poke bowl with salmon for him and an 11-piece for myself from the local Japanese place. When I picked up the dishes, the man behind the counter gave me a cheerful nod, and so he should. We went there at least twice a week. I carried on to our block and took the lift up to the 5th floor. I opened the front door and called out to Henrik. "Hello?" "Hi," came the muted response from the living room. I could hear the sound of the television. In the kitchen I was confronted with a pile of dirty dishes in the sink and a messy table. Henrik's coffee cup was still there, along with bits of kitchen paper. Crumbs everywhere. I could have wept. It was Saturday, and I'd worked for more than 12 hours, as I had virtually every day throughout the summer. I'd called Henrik and asked what he wanted to eat. I'd ordered the food and picked it up, and he hadn't even bothered to drag himself off the sofa to tidy up after himself, let alone get out the glasses and something to drink. He was on holiday and spent all his time in the apartment. This massive fucking kitchen with a table that seats 10. What's the point? We're pathetic. The TV fell silent, and he shambled into the kitchen. "I'm sick and tired of—" I began, my voice shaking with anger. "I've sorted the food. Couldn't you at least clean up after yourself? Do you expect me to do that as well?" Henrik said nothing, but he put his coffee cup in the sink, threw away the kitchen paper, fetched the dishcloth, and began to wipe down the table. Judging by his body language, this required an almost superhuman effort. I sighed, took a bottle of sparkling water out of the fridge, and poured myself a large glass. "I think we're going to have to postpone our trip." Henrik looked up but said nothing. He simply carried on wiping the table. "I can't be away for a week right now," I went on.
I see. Sample complete. Ready to continue?